CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
Todi is regarded as one of the grandest ragas of Carnatic music because of the fact that it can really never ever be exhausted by any composer or musician. That is the kind of vast scope this raga offers in terms of the swaras which are embedded in it. We all know the Aronarna of this ragam is like Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa Sa Ni Da Pa Ma Ga Re Sa. So except for the Ma, you saw that all the notes were actually oscillated with heavy gamakas. And we also see that here in this ragam, when we actually do the murchana on the notes Ri, Ga, Ma, Dha and Ni, we see that the ragas which emerged from them are Kalyani, Harikambodi, Nata Bhairavi, Shankarabharanam and Karahara Priya. And this is basically a Sampurna ragam. This is the 8th Melagartha in the Melagartha scheme. We see that it's the 8th one, and ragam with symmetrical pair of tetrachords, in the sense that if you look at it, Sa Re Ga Ma, then Pa Da Ni Sa. The two, the Purvangam and Uttarangam, are in perfect symmetry here. And every composer for that matter has handled this ragam, and also we see that artists take this ragam as the main item in many concerts, and we see that compositions are also rendered with adequate raga lapana, neraval, swaram. If it's a RTP, ragam dhanam pallavi, then dhanam is also performed, and this ragam suits all the kinds of manodharma in a very beautiful manner. Todi actually has also been the forte of some musicians, and in the 19th century we see there was a musician called Sita Ramayya who's supposed to have rendered this ragam for 8 days continuously and earned the title of Todi Sita Ramayya. We also see how artists like Rajaratnam Pillai, they have actually performed this ragam in an exemplary manner and given it a unique status also. The janyas of Todi, if you see, the important ones are of course Dhanyashi, Asaveri, Punnagavarali, and one small ragam which was created by Tyagarajar from Todi was Suddha Semantini, in which there is this composition Janaki Ramana. Tyagarajar has composed maximum compositions in Todi, that is about 32 kritis he has composed. And what is very unique about these kritis is that he has actually explored all the possibilities of the commencing points for Todi. Like each composition starts on a different note, and that itself is a beautiful kind of exploration that he has done for us to show that Todi can be started from any point and it can be explored in a grand manner. If you look at the history of Todi, we see that it has been mentioned in many treatises from ancient times, that is right from the Sangeetha Ratnakara in the 13th century, then also in Raga Tarangini, Sangeetha Samayasara, Raga Vibodha, Sangraha Chudamani. Then in Sangeetha Sampradaya Pradarshini we see that it is mentioned as Janatodi, and Subbarama Dikshidhar gives us the Lakshana of this ragam. He elaborates and says that it is a Raganga ragam, a Sampurna ragam, a Rakti ragam, which can be especially rendered with a lot of Ranjana or Ranjaka in the evening time. He adds that it is one of the most Ranjaka ragam, and he mentions as illustration. Of course, you know that in Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini, apart from the Lakshana given for ragas, there is also mention of certain compositions to actually complement them for us to understand what is the movement of the ragam and how the Lakshana is actually defined through this composition. So it gives us an example of a Lakshya Geetam by Venkatamaki, then Gajavadana of Maharaja Kumara Etendra, then Kamalambike of Muthuswami Dikshidhar, then this Chaukavarnam Rupa Mujuchi of that is also there, then a Swarasthana Varnam of Ramaswamy Dikshidhar. This is again very unique. where you see that it is starts like Sarigadani Pamarini, where Sahityam employs only these 7 swaras Sarigama Padani and coins appropriate Telugu words for the lyrics. In Todi, though we see that the Panchama is very, very important, like in the Sancharas we do. Ga ma ga ri sari ga ma ga ri sari ga ma pa pa ma ga ri sari ga ma pa da ni da pa ma ba da ma ga ri sari ga ma pa da ni ba da ma pa ma ga ri sari ga ma pa. So where the pa is an important note for halting and weaving patterns. But this ragam shines very well also without the pa, that is pa varjya phrases add actually special beauty to it. For this we can take the example from the Yerana Pai Todi Varnam, where you see that all the charanas, there is no panchama at all. Looking at the third charana to illustrate this point, Dani da baga mani da bagari sa da magari sa gari ni da ni ri ni da ni sa ri ga ma da ma da ni sa ri ni da ni sa ni gari ni da ni da magari sa gari ni da magari ni sa ri ga ma da ni ma da. So where you see that the Panchama, though very important, without that also so many patterns can be woven and it can add a special dimension to the ragam itself. And this is of course been explored by many musicians. In fact, even the Shadja has been taken off and Varjya has been done on this, so it becomes like Neri Gama Daniri. So Pa and Sa are not there at all, and with that also you can weave a different color and give a different dimension to Todi. And Dikshadhar has composed about 8 kritis in this ragam. And here another important point I would like to focus is about how Dikshadhar used the Raga Mudra. Even in rare ragas he tried to incorporate the Raga Mudra in his compositions. But in all these compositions which are in Todi, somehow we see that this Raga Mudra has not been incorporated in any of the compositions that he has composed in Todi. Why he didn't do that, again, that I suppose has to be analyzed, and we have to actually refer to scholars to find out, but this is an interesting observation here. And as I mentioned earlier, this ragam is ideally suitable for composing any genre. So we have the Geetams, the Lakshya Geetams, Sanchari, Jatiswaram, Varnam. In Varnam, the Aditala Varnam, the Adatala Varnam, then Kritis, Padam, Tillana, Ragamalika. Of course, since it can be elaborated extensively, we also see that there are many Ragam Dana Pallavis which have been composed in this. One of them being the famous 4 Raga Pallavi, which was rendered by stalwarts of the past like Shankara Bharananai, Are Todi Vadi Kalyani Darbaruk, where Todi is one of the 4 ragas mentioned here, and this used to be sung by the great stalwarts. Coming to the some of the important compositions, of course there are many compositions in Todi and we cannot make a complete list here, but Tyagarajar we see compositions like Kaddanu Variki, Kaddanu Variki Kaddu Kadalani, or Raju Vedala Juta Murare, or Ninnu Vina Sugamugana. In Dikshadhar, Shri Krishnam Bhaja Manasa Tatam. So this is one composition in Redikala which explores actually Todi in a very beautiful, in a grand manner, in a very slow tempo, but every nuance is captured very well. Then we also have a composition of Shyama Sastri, Ninnenam mi nanu, and Papanasham Sivan, of course. Kartikeya Gangeya Gauri Tanaya, or another of his Devi Padam Paninde. And the most popular, of course, of Oothikadu Venkatakavi, Taye Yashoda Bundan Hayar Kula Tudita Mayan Gopala Krishnan Seyum Jalatai Keladi. Like this we can keep going on and on. Of course, a master composition, I would say, which explores the Todi in the Mandrasthai to the fullest in a very relaxed and chauka kalam is the Swarajati of Shyama Sastri, Rave Himagiri Kumari, where you see that in the Mandrasthai, the maximum possible way of exploring Todi has been done in a brilliant way, I would say, by Shyama Sastri. Thus we see that since Todi is an inexhaustible ragam, it has been handled by umpteen number of composers, and even in the concert we see that though so many artists have actually rendered this Todi hundreds of times, because of the scope of different colors that can be provided to every note, we see that there are immense possibilities, and that's why each time this ragam is performed by any artist, it seems so fresh and beautiful to us.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.